Hello and welcome back to this damn full idealistic crusade. In this video, I want to celebrate hitting the 10,000 subscribers milestone by doing another channel giveaway. This is for a variety of categories and it'll be done in the same manner as past giveaways. You don't have to be a subscriber, just merely leave a comment on this video with which particular prize package you're interested in, and after a week I'll do a random drawing to pick the winner for each prize, which I will then notify by replying to the individual comment, and then all you'll have to do is send your mailing information by email to the channel email, which of course is damnfullidealisticcrusader@gmail.com. Now, unfortunately, this is limited to US residents only, as international shipping is quite cost prohibitive, but hopefully at some point in the future I'll be able to open these up to international shipping, but unfortunately for now it's still just limited to US residents only. Now, this is just something I like to do to just show a token of my appreciation. Hitting the 10,000 subscribers milestone is no easy feat, especially in the physical media realm or other parts of YouTube that aren't among the most popular. And it's even more important for me, as I'm somebody who, since I started this channel, determined to never do the calls to action or ask people to subscribe or like videos or things. Even though that's what you're supposed to technically do on YouTube, I much prefer videos that don't do that. And so each subscriber to this channel I know is somebody who subscribed of their own free will because they liked what they were seeing and wanted more, and that's a thumbs up for me to keep going. So hitting 10,000 subscribers feels even more special, as each one is a hard-won subscriber because it's somebody who subscribed because they chose to. So it makes it all the more special for me to hit that point, as I never thought I'd get 1,000, let alone 10,000 subscribers on this admittedly extremely nerdy channel where I continue to make even more heavily researched and longer nerdy videos about film and media and pop culture. So now to go over the categories of what you can choose to enter the giveaway for. Each of these is, of course, something that I cover on this channel. I feel it's most appropriate to have giveaway materials that are somehow channel related or among topics that I cover. This time it's mostly in the field of books, so I'm starting with the Hardy Boys giveaway, which includes a nice original text edition of Book 21, The Clue of the Broken Blade, with the second cover art in the picture cover design. It's in pretty solid shape, just a little bit of wear and then some spine wear, but otherwise is in fine condition, with the brown and white end papers and the original front piece art and no major tanning of the pages. So it's still in solid shape and in a much better condition than I usually find original text picture covers these days. Also, for those who collect the later paperback series, I'm tossing in a nice condition copy of number 186 from the digest, along with book 6 and the relaunch of the Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew Super Mysteries. So all three of these books will be in the same drawing. For the three investigators, I've got a nice condition copy of a Marchese edition of The Secret of Skeleton Island. It does have a little bit of cover wear, but it's otherwise a really solid condition copy and still has the spine intact. This, of course, has the Hitchcock profile because it does contain the original Hitchcock text with the bookends and the illustrations. It's in rather nice shape considering most of these are getting on up there in years, and so usually you find Marchese copies pretty beat, so this is one of the better condition ones I've seen in a while. And of course we have the classic illustration still present in this edition. I'm also throwing in a Scholastic copy of Mystery of the Talking Skull, which has a version of the original artwork in the smaller paperback size, but these are collectible in their own right. Just, of course, they're not as premium or fancy as the full-size paperbacks, but this, of course, is still a solid reading edition. It does contain the original Hitchcock introduction and closing, so it is a Hitchcock text. Of course, the only difference is that this does not contain the illustrations due to the slimmed down size, but again, these are nice and collectible in their own right, and it's hard to find any vintage Three Investigators edition that's in solid shape without paying through the nose. Now, this one's in not as good of shape, but it's also a Hitchcock text, so I figured I would throw it in. This is a later Scholastic edition with the unique cover artwork for Mystery of the Green Ghost, but as you can see, I think this was an ex-classroom copy because it has the name written on the front in marker and an old thrift book sticker, but outside of that, it's in solid shape, so this is at least a good reading copy, but as you can see, condition-wise, it's still really solid. And of course, because it's a bit later, the pages don't have any major tanning, and this is the original Hitchcock text, so it has the original Hitchcock bookends. So this will make a nice copy of Green Ghost for somebody who needs one. For Indiana Jones, I've got 2 from the really wonderful Random House Young Indiana Jones series, which is very obscure these days, and I adored reading these because they're really far better than children's books in terms of what they're usually viewed as. But unfortunately, they were never reprinted, and so finding them is quite scarce, especially the later books. So for somebody wanting to get started, I've got a pretty solid copy of book 2, which is Tomb of Terror, one of the best in the series, where young Indy first meets Sala, and they have a fantastic action-filled adventure in Egyptian tombs. This does have really nice artwork, but as you can see, it does have some cover creasing, but outside of the wear to the cover and spine, it's otherwise perfectly solid, and when you find these, they are usually pretty beat up, but outside of the basic wear, it's a nice reading copy, and it will get you hooked on this series if you've never read one of these and you're an indie fan. I'm also throwing in a nice condition copy of book 7, Ghostly Writers, which is another fun one with rather nice cover artwork. This one is in better condition than book 2, so I'm tossing them in together so you can read 2 from this series, which again is unfortunately very obscure and needs to be talked about more. For James Bond, I tried to find something that was a bit out there, a bit uncommon, something a bit special, and so I managed to find a really solid condition copy of Raymond Benson's novelization For the World Is Not Enough. This, of course, is one of the 3 Brosnan-era novelizations that Benson wrote, and just like the other 2, it's never been reprinted or collected in any form. So the only way you can get these for Tomorrow Never Dies, The World Is Not Enough, and Die Another Day are the original mass-market paperbacks for the US and then the UK edition. They are getting harder and harder to find, and sometimes you do have to pay quite a bit to get a solid condition copy. Usually when they turn up in used bookstores, it's very hit or miss, and when you find one, they're pretty beat up by now. So this is a really nice condition copy, no major wear, still has the gloss on the actual jacket, and this is a truly important novelization because Benson adds so much to the film's narrative that it will only enhance your viewings of the film afterwards, and it's a truly great essential novelization. In fact, I'd go as far to say that I think the film badly needs a lot of the extra materials that are in the novelization, especially for the characters of Elektra and Renard. So just like Benson's other 2 novelizations, the film narrative only benefits from the exclusive novelization material, and if you're a fan of the film, this is a must-read, and since it's never been reprinted, I decided to include this as the James Bond giveaway. And if you're entering the James Bond giveaway, I'm also going to toss in a pretty solid original 80s paperback copy of Win, Lose, or Die with the really cool sort of hollow foil embossed multi-bond silhouette that was used around this time of the cover. So on the paperbacks, all of this is embossed on the first pressings, and even though it still has, of course, obviously a bunch of wear, it's still a really solid reading copy. And if you're like me, you probably love getting to read even the John Gardner 80s novels in something that's a bit more of the era. And also, there's just something about that hollow foil, almost trippy psychedelic look of the James Bond silhouette that always attracts my eye. So I'm going to toss this in with the overall James Bond giveaway. I'm also including a number of various issues of revivals of classic pulp characters in comics. So if you're interested in this comic lot, I'm going to include some issues from Moonstone's fantastic run of Phantom stories from the early to mid 2000s. So I've got 2 issues from that series, and unfortunately all the Moonstone Phantom stories have never been fully collected. They have some collections, but all of this stuff is very much out of print, so this will be a great start if you've never read any of these, and they are musts if you're a fan. I'm also including 2 issues of the Dynamite King's Watch series, which brings together the classic King features characters of The Ghost Who Walks, Mandrake the Magician, and Flash Gordon. I'm also going to include 2 of the wonderful Now Comics runs of the Green Hornet. These have never been collected, and they did a variety of different series. I think overall there's at least 60 to 70 or more of all of the Now Comics Green Hornet and Kato and associated Green Hornet titles. So I'm including 2 really nice condition copies of some of the various runs. And I've also got the first issue of Dynamite Comics' relaunch of the Knight of Darkness himself, The Shadow. So if you've ever been curious about the Dynamite Comics version of The Shadow, I'm including the first issue of the first series. For making of books, I've got a copy of the incredible must-read The Searchers, The Making of an American Legend by Glenn Frankel. This is a fantastic history volume because it goes through the history of various events leading up to the development of certain stories and legends that fed into the writing and creation of the Searchers novel, which of course led into the production of the film. So this is basically a whole book-length work delving into not just the history of the film, the history of the novel, but really just the history of captives in Texas in the past and dealing with the conflicts between the Texans and then the various Native American tribes. So you're getting basically 2 different books in one, and it's extraordinarily comprehensive. So this is a fantastic must-read book if you love The Searchers or if you're just interested in the history of the American West. You basically get both for the price of one. The second making up book is a vintage paperback, and it's one of the classic making up books that unfortunately has never been reprinted. So it is stuck as this vintage paperback, which you usually have to pay collectible paperback prices for. But I managed to find a really nice looking copy, so I figured this would make a perfect book for someone who's a fan of the Man of Steel, because I've got a copy of the classic The Making of Superman, dealing with the original 1978 film. This is very much written as a day-to-day diary of a fly-on-the-wall perspective of the production. It is absolutely essential, and outside of the creasing on the spine, just a single crease, it's in perfect shape, and even the binding is still really nice and tight. So this will make an excellent copy for someone. And of course, we still have the black and white photo inserts in the middle. So I found this and knew that somebody would need a copy of this. I already have one. I think it's one of the essential vintage making up paperbacks, so I knew somebody out there would need a copy of this in their collection. For Blu-ray, I've got actually a box set, and that is a still sealed copy of the Shout or Scream Factory release of the Omen collection. The real draw here is not only are you getting all of the sequels with supplements, but this is still the only way you get the 4K restoration and remaster of the original Omen film with the mono soundtrack and, of course, all the various supplements. So this is a nice box set in its overall design, and as far as I know, is now technically out of print. I already have this, but I stumbled across a second copy that was still sealed, so I knew this would make a great giveaway item for someone who didn't have this already. And again, this includes the original film series plus the 2006 sequel as well. And then last but certainly not least, I have the Laserdisc giveaway section. I tried to find titles that were either desirable or not common, or ones that you obviously aren't going to see every day. So all of these are titles that people definitely have on their wish list. They're maybe not in the best of condition, but they at least will make somebody some really fantastic starter copies or get them a solid version for their collection if they just wanted to check this off of their wish list. So first, I have one of the most desired late releases, and that is the release of Gone with the Wind, the final release on the format. This has the all-important Dolby Digital AC3 5.1 track, which contains the 1990s 5.1 remix of the film done for the limited theatrical reissue that was never again released to home video. So that's the a major draw of this, plus it being a new transfer and the last one done for the Laserdisc format, and this being printed in very limited quantities. This is, of course, a late Warner Brothers title handled by Image, so it's got the thin cardstock, no gatefold, but this is a highly desirable late release. It rarely pops up, and when it does, it usually costs, at least a certain price premium, especially for Laserdisc. Now, this, as you can see, obviously was originally a rental copy, but it's still in rather nice shape outside of a little bit of wear, and then the stickers. But really the wear is more from this being a very thin late release jacket. So this will make someone a really nice copy if you just wanted to see this particular version, and also if you wanted a copy of the 1990s theatrical 5.1 remix. This is also different to the Snapper Case DVD that was porting this master, because that used different audio, and the LD is actually mastered better because that's usually how it went with early DVDs. So this is a really desirable late release, and the only reason I'm actually passing this on is I was able to finally get a upgrade copy. So for a while I thought this was just going to be the only version I had, because it is that uncommon. I've never seen another one of these besides the one I have, so I knew this would make someone a nice late release title. This next one is another uncommon disc that a lot of people do try to find. It's also not in the best condition, but it would make someone an excellent starter copy, and that is the so-called director's pan and scan version of True Lies. This, of course, is the custom 1.33:1 reframed version of the Super 35 film. So the only way you get this particular version is, of course, the Laserdisc release here with the custom branding on top. And then I assume the VHS tape as well uses this. Actually, I'm not sure if the VHS uses this or just does a bad pan and scan job. But anyway, this is the least commonly found version of True Lies. It is basically the AC3 Laserdisc, but in a custom reframed 1.33:1 or 4:3 framing. It has the same nice gatefold, and the rear looks otherwise identical, but this is just a super uncommon disc to find, and it still has the incredible Dolby Digital AC3 5.1 track. The only issue with this, as you can see, there is a tear on the front of the jacket, and it's got a little bit of wear. So this is basically a starter copy, or for somebody who just always wanted to see this particular framing of True Lies, but could never find this particular Laserdisc at a decent price. So I stumbled across this for a few cents and knew that this would make a fantastic giveaway title for somebody looking for the custom framing version of True Lies. And then last, I'm actually including my original copy of the Japanese Special Collection version of Star Wars. This is the legendary first major widescreen release of the film, which of course was ported for the Fox Special Widescreen editions. This is still one of the most highly desired Star Wars versions on the format, and really goes toe-to-toe with the Technodisc later pressing as the overall best release of the film from a picture quality standpoint on the format, which of course makes it one of the most desirable and best official video releases of Star Wars in terms of best quality you can get on an official release without major changes made. This, of course, does carry the 1985 home video remix in Dolby Stereo that we were all used to from 85 to 93, and, of course, has far better picture quality to what we see on the Definitive Collection Master. So this has none of the awful motion smearing or drained color or issues of that master. But, of course, it being Japanese, it does have hard-coded Japanese subtitles on the bottom, but if you've ever seen a Japanese disc, you're pretty much used to that. This, of course, is also NTSC, so if you've never had a Japanese disc and you just have a US player, don't worry, because Japanese discs play fine in your US player because it's the same video format. Now, this otherwise looks very similar to the CBS Fox releases of the era on the back in terms of the layout and images. And inside, the CAV discs have their original custom sleeves, which are still in pretty solid shape. These, like the jacket, still have a little bit of wear, but considering what any condition copy of a JSC release goes for on eBay, I knew this would make a fantastic copy for somebody who just wanted the Japanese Special Collection version of Star Wars or wanted to eventually get all three of the trilogy. So there you have it, the categories I put together for this 10,000 subscribers giveaway. Now, if you're in the US and you're interested in any of these categories, just leave a comment below with which category you're interested in, and after a week, I'll gather all the comments together, separate them out by category, and then do a random prize drawing for each. So just keep an eye on this video in the comments section, and I will reply to the winners with the channel email, and then all you have to do is just email me your address, and I'll get these out in the mail to you as soon as possible. This is just something I wanted to do to show my appreciation for everyone who has supported me on this channel. I've done this a few times in the past, but I knew if I ever hit 10,000, I wanted to do one of these again. It's just a little thing I can do in terms of of just further spreading the love of physical media, of course, but also to show my deepest appreciation, because I never expected to get any subscribers when I started this channel. I just started it because I needed an outlet for all this stuff that's rattling around in my brain. So what you see on this channel is what I do when I'm not working at a day job or doing something else. And even when I'm working on other things, there's a big portion of my head that's still thinking about film and book and physical media topics. So it's also a great sign that I must be at least doing something right, because it takes a lot of time and energy and effort, not to mention money, to do these videos and research and get things together and purchase different elements, and then trying to find the time to make and edit videos around everyday life is very difficult. So when you find yourself squirreling away every bit of time and trying to get enough energy to put back into this, and you're having to do stuff sometimes at 2 o'clock in the morning, you definitely get burned out. And you start to wonder, am I really accomplishing anything here? So it really helps to get some sort of feedback, and hitting the 10,000 subscriber milestone really is a definite sign. So again, my deepest thanks and appreciation to everyone who has ever commented on one of my videos, liked one of my videos, anyone who has subscribed to this channel or supported this channel in any way. I wanted to give my deepest thanks and appreciation. And so again, if you're inside the US and any of these are things you might want in your collection, just leave a comment below with which category you'd be interested in, and I will do a prize drawing at the end of a week. So as always, I hope my babblings about the world of films and physical media has been at least somewhat fun and informative. Again, my deepest appreciation, gratitude, and thanks to everyone who has supported and subscribed to this channel. And I thought this would be something nice to do that was the least I could do, just to do something special to show my appreciation. So again, thanks to everyone who supports this channel, and I will continue my efforts in this vein and making even longer and more research and more nerdy videos and reviews to try and validate that show of support from everyone who subscribes. So as always, keep reading, keep studying films, and thank you ever so much for watching.